use freedom of speech as a way to justify their right to allow for the lies repeated 1,000 times becoming facts. And I was wondering if you could address that issue if you speak.
Maria, do you want to jump in? And then
Freedom. You know, I've heard this argument and I think I threw a shoe. Because technically, if you look at the latest statements, it says it's okay to lie. And it's even more okay for politicians to lie. Freedom of speech is being used to stifle freedom of speech. That's what we're feeling right now, because any narrative, any fact that is inconvenient for the people in power get pounded. And in my case, I was getting an average of 90 hate messages per hour. It is very transformative when you're going through your feed, and I just stopped responding and I started just counting, right? It was a new weapon, and this was in 2016. It was in mid-2016. So no, it isn't. Sacha Baron Cohen talked about it as freedom of speech is not freedom of reach. And I'll say this over and over and over. The scale of everything is different. That is the main thing. The fact that the lie reaches further and reaches you faster than a fact, that poor boring fact, is transformative. And so we can't even get to the point where we can get the stories out in this corrupted environment, in this information ecosystem. Think about it like the poison is coming into our body politic, and it is global. So poison is coming in. No, that's drugs are coming in, so it's getting pumped in. A former KGB chairman and the Soviet Union head, Yuri Andropov, actually said, you take disinformation is like taking drugs. You take it once or twice, you're okay. But if you take it all the time, you become a changed person. So here you go, the drugs are coming in, and then you become a drug addict. When you're a drug addict, you're a completely different person, right? Our body politic right now, we not only have to stop the drugs, we have to rehabilitate those people who have gotten used to this and need it. The dopamine hit.
Exactly, it's by design, and that's an important thing to look at technology. And our friend Jeff Orlowski's made a film at the festival that also goes further into this issue of like, this is by design, this is by choice. And as you're saying, Maria, people are getting addicted to the hit of the conspiracy. We talk about it as like rabbit holes that people go down. And why do people go down these holes? And how do they suck them in? And why are they so contagious and so effective? And why do you need to start living in that self-fulfilling prophecy of this disinformation trap? And how are the platforms amplifying that? These are all the things that we have to address immediately. And I think that the problem we face is that while all of this is happening, I think symbols of power are quite important as well. And as we see now in this country, another election is before us, and I'm sorry to bring it up again, but it's just the truth. And we have a white supremacist cult that is leading this country, that is trying to destroy and desecrate a lot of the values that we like to think we subscribe to, including freedom of speech in this bastardized version of it. And so I think it's important to understand the power of these symbols that are being co-opted and been by this weaponized information space, and to ask ourselves what we're going to do about it. I want to thank Sundance for having us here, having this conversation. I've got to jump, but thank you all, and thanks for having this conversation.
Thank you, Karim. Okay, we've got one last question here, who's been very patient. Please.
Okay. Hi, I'm Barbara Beeman, and I'm head of documentary films at a European public broadcasting station. You were talking about the narrative environment and talking about the corporization of the non-fiction environment. That, as a result, is endangering public broadcasting. In Britain, the BBC is under fire. In Germany, they're calling us lying press, which is a fascist term. Public broadcasting is going to be a victim of this whole development, and that's not a good thing. And I'm finding out here in this market that filmmakers and distributors are not talking to us because they're holding out for the streamers. We're not getting to see your project in progress because everybody is holding out to the streamers. I'm just warning you. that is not a good thing.
So, do you have a question?
The question is, Toni, we met in Toronto, and you had an interesting experience after your pitch, and public broadcasters stood up and were talking to your project, and not at the table with the streamers, but you got a great offer. Why did you decide to go with public broadcasting?
Thank you for that question. We decided to go with public broadcasting for Softie. First of all, we were a first-time director, producer team, and we wanted to create relationships with commissioners who weren't necessarily driven by profit in the bottom line. I know there is that to a certain degree, but not to the degree that streamers were driven by that. And we were also very interested in having the first Kenyan directed and produced documentary distributed across the world and to be seen by as many audiences as possible, where there were lower barriers to entry. So I mean, I know we're talking about the information war, but I think that can really be countered through independent storytelling, and it can also be countered through I would say public distribution, and also looking at alternative distribution models where we're reaching people in their communities. We're so happy to be partnering with POV because they have a audience outreach and engagement division in their organization. So we will be able to reach audiences in public libraries, whole screenings, do activities around the film, because we create these stories because we want them to be consumed, and we want to have interesting conversations around the films, and we want to be able to inspire people to be able to take action through organization by impact producers and through the different partners that we're working with.
Okay, we've got to stop it there, unfortunately. Can you join me in thanking our panel? We've been really inspired.